YouTube, this video is the Potliol. I'm going to try and make this quick. There's a lot of material. I really could turn this into 3 videos if I so chose, but I don't choose to do that. So I'm going to break this video into 3 parts. I'm going to have a spiel, which is also a thank you to you. I'm going to have a clarification and reframing of the concept discussed in this video, the main topic, which will be the Potliol. In part 3, I'll get into my alleged tactics used by certain, not all, debating atheists, and we'll keep that as a separate issue from the main content of the video. That way, you know, if that turns out to be false, it doesn't imply that that's false and vice versa. And we'll address those issues as separate parts of the video. So this first part of the video, I want to say thank you for disliking my commentary, which this video is a response to. Thank you for disliking my commentary on the debate between Hitchens and Turek. Why? That's very counterintuitive, John. Why are you thanking me for disliking your video? Well, I like lots of views. I like likes, and I dislike dislikes. A lot of times I'm in my work shirts, I'm on this cheap webcam, and I'm half-assing stuff. I under-research, I under-analyze, I under-define, and I under-clarify. And it really makes me look like an idiot. But here's the problem. I don't think I'm an idiot until you tell me I am. I think I'm a flippin' genius. You know, that's one of my problems. And another one of my problems is that I half-ass a lot of my videos. So when I get 20 dislikes and 0 likes, which is what I have right now, I say, well, what could be wrong with that video? It was a great video. And I go back and watch the thing for once. And when I go back and watch it, I realize, okay, I'm sounding like an idiot. I'm framing incorrectly. I'm misusing words. And when you give me feedback in the comments, for example, one guy pointed out that I didn't understand the word disbelief. I thought it was a belief of rejection. In fact, disbelief, correct me if I'm wrong again, but it can either be a belief of rejection or simply the absence of any belief, or both disbelief. And so that's just a subtle nuance with a profound impact in the meaning of the word. And that's one example of certain things where when I'm half-assing it, they get by me. So thank you for disliking. You caused me to reflect, and you caused me to do this, this video. So let's get to the crux of the video, and that's the Potliol, the problem of the liberal interpretation of language. I'm going to kind of reframe the problem I was talking about last time. I was talking very nonsensically. I'll try and get down to brass tacks here. And I believe there are 4 problems with the liberal interpretation of language: the specificity problem, the infinite regress problem, the overinflation of meaning problem, and the potential self-contradiction problem. What do I mean by the liberal interpretation of language? I contrast liberal language with strict language. So I'll give you an example to illustrate, don't worry. But strictly speaking means one thing, liberally speaking means another, and I believe if we speak strictly, we can speak accurately, and if we speak liberally, we end up with these 4 problems I've named. So let me give you an example. Let's talk about the pen is blue. Strictly speaking, the pen is blue. It is this. Any deviation from the maximum definition of blue, either in presence of something else or an absence of something necessary, means that the pen is not blue. Okay, so the strictly speaking meets the maximum definition, and liberally speaking meets the minimal definition. The liberal definition of blue is it has a trait of blueness. If it has any trait of this, even if it doesn't meet the perfect ideal of this, if it has any trait of that, it is, strictly speaking, blue in a sense, but liberally speaking, it's just blue. Strictly speaking, we can qualify to things like dark blue and light blue. Liberally speaking, they're all blue. Dark blue is blue, light blue is blue, purple is blue, green is blue. And this leads to several problems, in my opinion. If any of the following 4 are true, then there is a problem with liberal language. If none of the following are true, there's no problem with liberal language, but it still does exist. So here's the specificity problem. It can be summed up as, if we speak conservatively, we can qualify to liberality. But if we speak liberally, we can never achieve a conservative, strict meaning. Specificity problem, that's a formal definition, but let me give you an example. Let's say I want my walls painted blue. I want you to paint my walls blue. You're the painter. I'm the dude who wants it painted. I speak strictly. I want my walls painted blue. You know, I mean this. Let's say I'm talking about navy blue. I want my walls painted dark blue. Speaking strictly, I'm talking about the maximum definition of blue and the maximum definition of dark. Okay, so, you know, then you might go, how dark, you know, whatever. Liberally speaking, I want my walls painted blue. That doesn't mean this to you. That could be light blue, sky blue, purple, green. All of these have traits of blueness, so liberally speaking, they are all blue. in a sense, or liberally speaking, they're all blue. Okay? So when we talk about strictly speaking, the image of blue immediately arises. If we talk about liberally speaking, it immediately begs the question. And that's the problem with specificity, because you don't know what blue I'm talking about. I want my walls. Let's say I want very dark blue. For all you know, that could be light blue. Let me tell you why. If you presume that the original blue is a light blue, and then dark blue is darker than the original, it could still be that a darker light blue is still a light blue. Does that make sense? Darker than the original light blue, but still light blue. and strictly speaking, I would be trying to convey navy, but you would get the idea of light blue. And that's the problem there. Let's go to the potential self-contradiction problem. And this is one of the primary ones I was getting at with the so-called, with the other video. What's up, Todd? Yeah, close the door. Atheism refers to the general term refers to two more specific qualified terms, and that is strict atheism and weak atheism. Strict is the same as strong, y'all know that. And these two views are incompatible. If you are a weak atheist, correct me if I'm wrong, but that means that you do not believe in God, is a weak atheist. So if you do not believe in God, you cannot simultaneously assert the non-existence of God, which, correct me if I'm wrong, would be a strong atheist. Now, a strong atheist can go, oh, they're compatible, I don't believe in God because he doesn't exist. But a weak atheist can't say that. He can't say, I don't believe in God because he doesn't exist, because that would be a strong atheist thing to say. You see what I'm saying? So then there's a problem with the liberal word atheism, which encompasses both, because the problem of self-contradiction. And that's what I was trying to point out earlier, and I did so very poorly. And this is the potential problem of self-contradiction, because it does not happen in every instance, but it happens in some instances. Alright, so now we have the problem of infinite regress. I was talking about blue and how blue and all that. Speaking strictly, let's say, dark blue. We know that that means darker than the ideal of blue. And liberally speaking, we run into an infinite regress of adjectives. If I say blue, how blue? Dark blue, first of all, the question with specificity is darker than what? But the problem with the infinite regress is, now that I've said dark blue, how dark? And let's say very dark, how very? So there's an infinite regress of adjectives. And this is incommunicable because we can't speak on for eternity. And that's different from the specificity problem. Dark blue, the specificity problem said which blue, and dark blue, the infinite regress, says how dark. Okay, so that's different. And lastly, we have the distinction problem, also the overinflation of meaning problem. And this is a weak point because I can't illustrate it logically. I tried to. You get into infinite sets. It's very difficult. This is an implication of the infinite regress problem. But I can illustrate it with an example that's very clear. And this is the second primary reason that I brought the issue up. Liberally speaking, atheists and theists are one and the same. Strictly speaking, they are distinct. So strictly, we have a dichotomy, but liberally, they're the same. Let me tell you why. Even if you are a theist and you do believe in a God, let's say that God is mutually exclusive, like many are. Let's say the Christian God is mutually exclusive with Zeus, okay? They both can't be true because the Christian God claims the other doesn't exist. Okay. So here's the distinction problem, is that the theist who does believe in the Christian God is an atheist with respect to Zeus. So if he's an atheist with respect to Zeus, liberally speaking, he is an atheist because he meets the minimum criteria. Remember, that's what liberal is. Okay. Strictly speaking, he meets the maximum criteria. So strictly speaking, there's a dichotomy, but liberally, there's no dichotomy, which means there's, in fact, the word is unnecessary because everyone is an atheist. And this is the problem of the overinflation of meaning. And this is not true if we speak strictly, but it's true if we speak liberally. And that's why, to preserve the meaning and to prevent overinflation of meaning, we need to speak strictly and not liberally. So those are my 4 points, and that concludes my discussion of the main content. Let's move on to my alleged tactics. And I'm going to separate this because I don't want an association. But between the two. This is the third part of the video, and I am not thoroughly convinced that this all the time is true. It is true in certain instances, such as the video we watched, in my opinion. And some of these tactics include, look, this is what I'm alleging, but it's not really proving. It's just me observing and making a subjective observation. And I believe that people like Dawkins and Hitchens want it to stay this way. They want to speak liberally because if they speak liberally, non-believers are atheists. And because they, using ad hoc and emotional appeals, they create an us versus them mentality. Okay? This is my opinion. They create an atheist versus theist mentality. And if they speak liberally, the atheist side is much bigger. And they want to do that because they want us versus them, and they want us, the atheists in this case, to win. And they use this as a semantic trick, is what I'm alleging. And they do that. They also use another semantic trick. And by the way, the reason the atheist liberally is bigger is because there's an excluded third. And the excluded third is the non-believers. Strictly speaking, there are theists, atheists, and non-believers. Or there would be two forms of non-believers. Indeterminate believers, and also the people who literally haven't considered the problem. You can consider it and be indeterminate, or you cannot consider it. Either way, you're an unbeliever. And liberally speaking, unbelievers are atheists. Strictly speaking, unbelievers are a unique category. Either they haven't considered the problem, or they've considered it and haven't come to a yes or no. But there's another semantic trick. When we get into debates, if I call myself an atheist, depending on the opposition, I can switch between strong and weak atheism. And Hitchens does this. He claims non-belief in a God. In fact, he illustrates a God that he believes in, which is a God by the definition of a thing which exists as a belief in the mind of believers who believe in it. And he claims that this God, which is a belief in the mind of believers that believe in it, he claims that that God does have a real impact in the world. So he believes in that God. But he maintains his atheism by choosing not to believe in it. Do you see that? That's a weak atheism, because he acknowledges his existence, he just chooses not to believe in it. So that's weak atheism. But then he plays the role of strong atheist with regard to the Christian God. So in the instance, he is a strong atheist, but in general, he can be a weak atheist. You see, and that's kind of, that can only be done if you're liberally interpreting the word atheist. Because if we were speaking strictly, Dawkins, or Hitchens rather, is not a strong atheist. He is a weak atheist. But he doesn't want to speak strictly, because if we speak strictly and we say, look, you allowed for this other God by this certain definition, so strictly speaking, you're a weak atheist. You're simply choosing not to believe in it. But if you're a weak atheist, you have no reason to go out and try and remove theism. You have no reason to go out and actively remove the belief in God, because you yourself allow for the existence of a God, you just choose not to believe in it. And so I posit that in that case, he would be better labeled as anti-theist. Yeah, because I'm fairly comfortable saying, and critique this if you want, but please don't dislike the video for this portion of it, is what I'm saying. If you disagree with this portion, which you well have a right to, please don't discount the rest of the video for this part. Anyway, I'm fairly comfortable saying that I believe that Hitchens is a weak atheist, but he claims the title of atheist to play a semantic game to allow him to be a strong atheist with respect to Christianity. But really, that's simply what I would call, rather provocatively, disguised anti-theism. Okay, have a great day, YouTube. I hope this was a more intelligent framing. Please don't dislike the video just because you disagree with the last third. That last third, I tried to very well clarify that that was opinion, and I wasn't proving that. The middle part, if you disagree with, I guess dislike the video. But anyway, thank you very much. Have a great day.